Lorton was a killing machine. It was a killing zone. And I was young when I went down there, and everybody knew I could fight from juvenile. And it was a dude, I don't want to call his name, but he supposed to be running the joint. Had dudes scared of him, was slapping dudes. Had dudes calling him the Don and all that. Back in the days when you had to go to court the next day, they let you out that night to take a shower on the wall. I'm in the shower. I came back there telling me, you know you're in the Don shower. I said, what? He said, I get in the shower at night, 6 o'clock. I said, you better get your fat ass in one of them other showers. I said, I was already back here. He said, that's why I like you. You ain't like this. But he was testing me. Nah, he's about 10 years older than me. Come over Cadillac now. Yeah, he come over Rough House and all them. And he said, you know you're in the Don shower. I said, look, I'm like this, you know. I said, they get your fat ass in one of them other showers. I was already back here. He was testing me. So about a month later, I'm training for a fight. He said, he ain't pivoting when he throw his hook, huh? Charlie Wise, my trainer. He said, show him how to. I said, ho, put the gloves on him, man. Call him out. I said, put the gloves on him so he can show me what he's talking about. I ate his ass up because he was fat. And I'm digging and chopping. And he ran out of gas. He said, man, I can't do him this young man. They said, you shouldn't have put him on with him then. I said, man, don't be coming down here while I'm training, man, interfering with my training. Because, see, you had to let them dudes know at the time you ain't going for nothing. Yeah. Because he's bringing dudes in front of my cell and slap them like he trying to intimidate me when I first went to move down in the block. I said, why you bring him down here and slap in front of myself? So all the old timers said, Fly, you can't be speaking up for them dudes. I said, I ain't speaking up for them. I'm saying, why he bring him in front of my cell to slap him like he trying to send me a message?
Out of all the other 20 cells.
I said, could turn me back. So they said, nah, man, they know. I said, man, I don't want to hear that. I said, don't bring them dudes in front of my cell and slap them no more. Because dudes wasn't talking back to him like that. I had to call him out. I said, put him on him. Since he talking about I don't know how to pivot, I ain't pivoting when I throw my left hook.
How you like Saudis, Fly?
Man, this is a hell of a joint. I'm so glad you hit me to it. The food delicious. I'm riding in one of them bad Teslas, man. This joint pretty. It's a bad joint I'm riding in. I'll be glad my man Larry Hoover get out so he can ride in all this stuff. I know it's a bad joint. I'm riding in a brand new Tesla, man. 2025, state of the art. You know, I was thinking about my man Larry Hoover, man. I'd be glad when he get out so he can experience all that him and that's it, man. Because we need some good brothers out here that deserve to be treated the same way, man. You know what I mean? They need to experience all this stuff I'm experiencing, man, because it's beautiful and we can't take it for granted. You know what I mean? I'm enjoying every day of it. Appreciate you, man.
Say no more.
Man, everything, man. Enjoying another day out here in this free world, man.
Man, but this summer, man, you'll have a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? A little bit more information on your man Hoover.
Inshallah. Because, man, it was such a blessing, man. I was so overwhelmed when I seen it on. No, you told me about it first.
Yeah, but it wasn't official till you seen it.
I know.
I was just telling you what I think. You know what I mean?
But when you told me, and everybody was talking about it, and I was turning on the news and seeing it, I said, Alhamdulillah. I said, man, the old man coming out that dungeon up there in Colorado.
And I guess I could use the word. I couldn't imagine how many people seem to want him not to come home, bro. Like they kept saying in response to me saying in a celebratory way, oh, free Hoover, man. They gonna let the old man out the X. They commuted the sentence. They kept saying, oh, so what? Trump did that to the federal sentence, but he got 200 years left in the state. It was like they wanted him not to get out, some people, man.
Because that's fear. You know, the old man generates, man, a lot of love and support, but he got a lot of fear on the strength of the power he exercises with the GD. although before they snatched him out the state joint and sent him to the feds, he had turned, man, another page with that. And was doing political things and stuff, man, with the community. And was doing a lot of positive things. But, once they took him and Shorty G out the mix, if you ain't got no leader to lead the army and continue to have structure, people gonna go haywire. If you ain't got no leader,
and that's with everything though, huh, man?
That's with everything in life. But if you ain't got no leader, the man to enforce discipline and guidance, that's just like out here in DC. A lot of them young dudes, they just want to say, I got a body. They just want to shoot somebody and say, I got a body. They don't want no money. They ain't got to have no reason for murder.
Mm-hmm.
So, in the GD is a gang, man, that, was powerful in Chicago, in the state joints, Chicago.
Nationally now.
And I agree to say now it's spearheaded where it's nationally. Just like the Bloods and Crips started off in California, now it's nationally. Mm-hmm. But with Hoover, he had so much control when he was in Illinois. And when they took him out, man, and sent him to the feds, man, them dudes, man, just went buck wild, man. You know what I mean?
Let me ask you a question along those lines. So you spent 26 years out ADX. Yeah. So that was about the same amount of time that he spent in ADX even
after I left. Yeah.
All right.
Because he came a couple of years after I was there.
Yeah, so when you got there, maybe 96?
96.
Yeah, okay. What I wanted to ask you was, you were in ADX, I would believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, when Hoover made the evolution or the transition from GD to growth and development. Would that be true?
Right, that's true.
Can you speak on anything that you may know about, that transition or how that came about?
No, because he don't put outsiders in his business like that. He might expound on it or say we evolved and now we such and such. Mm-hmm. But that's with anybody's growth. You know what I mean? Any business, corporation, organization, or so forth and so on. Mm-hmm. You have to grow. You know what I mean?
Right.
And he was taking them to another level because of the political clout he had, and the political affiliation he had. You know what I mean? Jesse Jackson, all them people were supporting him, trying to get him out. You know what I mean? Before they snatched him up. And see, that's just like a lot of people don't realize. Even when I was in Lorton, the political ties I had with Councilman John Ray and them when they was pushing for my freedom, and Walter Fontroy got me back to Lorton in '88.
Who was Walter Fontroy?
He used to be the mayor of D.C. You know what I mean? Wound up being a congressman. But you have to have ties with certain entities in order to, man, when you grow and you learn, man, that your status in life is above just a bunch of rhetoric and nonsense. You know what I mean? So when people recognize that you're a leader and they respect your leadership, some people, man, want to join forces to see if they can use you for their political gain, or see what man they could benefit from you and your juice that you have, if you use it in a positive manner. But see, he was so large in Illinois because, man, the leader of one of the most powerful gangs in the country, man, and by him being the chief,
that's a lot of respect, a lot of responsibility. Let me ask you another question. Let me skip to something real quick that we can't over. Although we don't give it no play. How did you feel? How do you feel? And what do you think about these suckers after 53 years coming up talking about Larry Hoover snitched on somebody when he was 18 years old?
I feel the same way I feel about them suckers who put a bone out that I was knocking people out taking butt. You know what I mean? Me and my cousin, I just left my cousin's house and I told him about Dude Cubby told me that the other day, so he had to check some dudes, Great Crusher dude, to say. And Cubby said, man, the man had more women in Lorton than dudes had on the street. I was getting ready to say that. I was getting ready to say, my cousin said, man, all them women you had. I was telling him about what Cubby told me on the phone the other day. So it's the same thing with Hoover. There's no way in the world the dude, I don't want to call the brother's name, but the dude who let him in and embraced him. But I can mention this brother's name.
Yeah.
I can mention Jeff Forbay.
Yeah, you can mention
Jeff Forbay. Yeah, he raised him. Hoover told me out of his own mouth. He said Jeff Forbay told me everything I know. But I was talking about David. When I said, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Saying one mention name. But see, Jeff Forbay was so big, man. I'm talking about. He done been with Muammar Gaddafi and all of them. He done, he done traveled the world. You know what I mean? And was the biggest thing in Chicago with the Blackstone Rangers.
His introduction to the Moore Signs came from Ralph Walker Hill, a DC guy. Would you agree with that?
I don't know about that. I don't know about, because I know when I met him, he was already on it. Okay. He was already a Mo. I don't know who breathed. I know Ralph Walker Hill said he breathed on him. Because Ralph Walker Hill was shot.
Where?
In Marion.
In Marion, okay. Yeah, somebody else was saying that he breathed on him before they got to Marion while he was in DC jail.
I never knew Jeff Forbay was in DC jail.
Okay.
I never knew that.
Another thing I wanted to ask you while I got you and we just talking, right?
But I know Hoover gave him the utmost respect and told me out of his own mouth that Jeff Forbay told him a lot of stuff that he know.
Just out of being a man and a leader though, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Because Hoover's not a religious guy, right?
Nah. And me and Nasir begged him to take a shahada. He said, man, I'm a gangster. I gotta die a gangster.
Before I ask you about that, I want to go on this, but let me clarify something some people keep talking about. Let me not clarify. Let me just ask you. Let me
answer this, though, about the dudes who say bad about. Man, listen.
Hold on. About the dudes who say bad about what?
About Larry Hoover being hot and told on somebody in 68.
Foolishness, right.
The brother who they said told came on there and said, the man ain't told on me. You know what I mean?
What else do we need after that?
Yeah, I mean, and I'm saying, see, certain people is not going to allow people to use them as a scapegoat to tarnish somebody's name. You know what I mean? And, but man, you know, it's appalling to me that some dudes would talk about somebody that's one of the most strongest and admired leaders. Yeah, you know what I mean? This dude, Trump ain't had to commute that man's sentence. That's respect. That's respect. And whoever enticed Trump or encouraged
him. And it's funny because you don't even really like Trump.
Can't stand him.
But you respect
But I respect him. I'm on the street because of Trump. With the first
explain that. Hold on. Explain that to the people real quick and short. Now you ain't got to get all legal. Yeah. But explain to the people how you on the streets by the signature of Trump.
I'm on the street because Donald Trump signed the First Step Act, and that's what I use with my motion to get out.
And even if Hoover didn't get this pardon from Trump, which I think Trump did I like what Trump did because the federal courts in Illinois was dragging him on what you got out on.
Exactly.
Do you think they was going to ever?
Nah.
So Trump for real, really, you know, he did something big for the people that support Larry Hoover.
Let me say this. When I was still in ADX with Hoover, Donald Trump invited Jim Brown and Kanye West to the White House.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and during the meeting, Kanye West was hollering, "Free Larry Hoover." And Hoover told me and Nasir,
y'all was still on ADX when this went down.
Yeah,
so y'all were in ADX in present moment talking about it as y'all seen it on.
We watching. We watched because Hoover told us, he said, make sure you turn on CNN such.
So Hoover knew the time it was going to be
on. Because
and y'all all tuned in.
Yeah, because the son of them told him what time Kanye and them was going to be on there, what time they was going to be televised, you know. So Jim Brown and Kanye West was there. And at the time, Snoop Dogg and Hoover's son and them is in LA selling T-shirts and, you know what I mean, stuff about Free Larry Hoover. You know, Snoop and them got involved. I can't remember his lawyer name that was with him, the lawyer out of Texas that was representing Hoover.
Is it a black woman?
Yeah, black dude, not Brittany.
Oh, okay.
Brittany wasn't. This was the dude who worked in the office with Brittany.
Okay.
And
shout out to Brittany though.
Shout out to Brittany. I love Brittany, man. I'm still trying to meet her. Cause You know, my sister met her and my sister marched together when she came.
That.
When she came to DC. My
Long
sister
live Mona Lisa.
Yeah, long live Mona Lisa. Her birthday was June 10th. But anyway, so when they said free Larry Hoover, I watched Donald Trump's face and he just smiled. He said, "We'll get into that later on." So, in regards how people feel about how we feel about, Allah knows best.